and welcome to our legislative report. I'm State Representative Sandra Major, and I'm here with State Representative Karen Boback. We're here in lovely Wyoming County, Tunkhannock, Pennsylvania, part of the Endless Mountains region, and we're here to host our Senior Expo today.
This is the first time that Representative Major and I have put together our efforts to have one big expo right here in Wyoming County.
We've invited a whole lot of people, a whole lot of senior citizens are here, and we're just absolutely thrilled with the turnout that we've had here today.
And the vendors are phenomenal. We will have people here that if you have any questions regarding the aging process or the Area Agency on Aging or veterans issues, in fact, we even have the Veterans Mobile Unit here to accommodate questions from our veterans.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And we also have the Attorney General's office here. We have some breakout sessions to offer specific information, meetings that seniors can participate in. So we've really got a great group of vendors here today.
Along with healthcare screenings, basic healthcare screenings, and you could even come and get your hearing checked. I like the breakout sessions though, as Representative Major said. You know, there's a lot of problems with identity theft and even having power of attorney for many of our seniors, our senior friends, our senior citizens. So we're going to be able to accommodate, once again, their questions right here under one roof. I'm thrilled to be on the Mobile Vet Unit with Joe May and Mark Burrier, and they're here on behalf of our veterans. Now, the Mobile Vet Unit, of course, travels throughout Pennsylvania, and I'm very fortunate that you do come to the Tunkhannock office here in Tunkhannock, and you go to the Dallas office. That's in conjunction with Senator Lisa Baker, and that is in the Dallas Shopping Center. And I know that we moved one of the Tunkhannock spots to, is it Susquehanna County or Upper Tunkhannock?
No, Susquehanna County, Montrose.
It's in Montrose
Yes.
now, and that's wonderful. And I mentioned those three specific spots because they're within the areas of State Representative Sandra Major and myself, and we can't thank you enough. I wondered if you could share some of the problems or some of the issues that our veterans come to the Mobile Vet Unit with.
Most of the people that we meet are actually new to the VA system. They've been in the military many years ago, and they finally just figured they would check the VA out, see what it had to offer. And myself and Mark go out to, I believe, 8 or 9 different places on a monthly basis. Like Representative Boback was saying, we visit them on a monthly basis, and our specific mission is to offer counseling to combat veterans, but because we have this basically a rolling billboard, we represent the VA and we bring out all the forms, and we basically help veterans get the right information and point them in the right direction is the least we can do. Most of the time we help the veterans fill the forms out, or we give them contacts, or we even sometimes even do it right over the phone. We can do enrollment over the phone with some veterans, depending how much paperwork they bring with them. A lot of times if it's just a drive-by, they want to just stop in and ask some questions, but if it's in the paper and people know we're going to be there, a lot of times people come prepared with the information they need to have in order to get the right VA forms.
And it's like a one-stop shop.
We try to make it that, yeah.
And which is wonderful. And I know I have constituents from Windham, Forkston, the upper end of Wyoming County, as does Senator Baker and Representative Major. So when you locate here in Tunkhannock, it's just so much easier than if they have to drive to Wilkes-Barre. Now the lower end of the county that I represent, they tell me it's easy for them to go to the VA, and that's wonderful. But yet the back mountain where you're at, in the Dallas Shopping Center, you get quite a few people come there.
Yes, we do.
Because it's convenient.
Yes.
And particularly for those who have perhaps a handicapped situation, or it's just they can't sit in a car to get to the VA per se. So you're much more convenient and you're much more accessible in those locales. I do have to commend the media too. Every time you're there, the media has been kind enough to advertise our local newspapers that where you'll be and at what times you'll be there. And I want to thank them for that.
Yes.
But mostly thank you for what you do for our veterans. Now, I was looking at some different brochures as I was coming in, and I noticed that the federal government now has what's called a Veterans Crisis Line, a 1-800 confidential line for our veterans. Can you explain that a little bit for us?
The Veterans Crisis Line is a new take on an older initiative. It's basically to help veterans in crisis. It's 1-800-273-TALK or 1-800-273-8255. It's basically just to help veterans in a crisis. They call the 800 number. They can speak to somebody on the spot, and the person who they talk to on the other end of the line is most likely a counselor or a qualified individual who can either talk the veteran down or talk the veteran through a difficult situation. They've been, very successful recently. It's been a really big project of the VA to help veterans and to prevent suicide amongst veterans. So the Veterans Crisis Line has been a pretty successful program so far. We give out information on that a lot of times. A lot of times we just leave the information out for people to pick up on their own. People don't necessarily come up and ask for this kind of information, but it's definitely one of the things that we put out that we notice seems to go when people go by.
It's something that people just don't understand. They see it on the outside, which looks like a big bus or a big trailer. Yes, and yet they come in. If you come in and you see all of the equipment, so that you have so much information that they need at your fingertips. And if you don't have it, of course, you know right where to get it.
Right. We try and be like Representative Boback was saying. We try and be a one-stop shop. We accept all veterans. Like I said, our primary mission is to work with combat veterans, but we never turn a veteran away, and we always try and give them the right answer or the right information or a referral to the information they're looking for. And we also can be used, I'm sure you know of this, but we're actually allowed to use this as a mobile counseling center and an outreach center, but we can also be used in a disaster. We're actually capable of being a mobile command center in a disaster relief situation, which is why, if the camera crew does a tour later, we have litter set up in the back. A lot of times people come in and think we actually work on people or we're a clinic, but it's set up as a static display. We didn't put everything on it, but we can actually be used in an emergency situation where Mark and I would actually be deployed, and this vehicle is capable of full internet, full satellite capabilities, communications. So we're lucky enough to be able to use it for our purposes in the meantime.
That's wonderful. When I asked about specifically giving me an example of what some veterans would come for, I remember one situation that I refer them to you about. I had a World War II veteran who was from the upper end of the district, and he was concerned about his wife should he pass before her, and what kind of benefits his spouse would have. And when I told him you were coming, right outside my office in the parking lot, he scheduled a time, and I know that when he left you, he was much more at ease as far as what would happen, again, should he pass before her. And it could be something like that, or as you said, it could be crisis intervention, it could be partial counseling, where to go for your next move for our veterans. Am I correct in saying that?
That's correct. We get pretty much like a run-of-the-mill, anything from I want a veteran ID card all the way up to they want to apply for full benefits, GI Bill information, pretty much anything in the federal benefits handbook. We have an idea of how to apply for it, how to get it, or who to contact.
And that's another great reason to stop, just to pick up a booklet. Now I know they can get one through the mail and they could request one, but you have everything that they may need right at their fingertips. I also remember a woman who lost her husband. He was a World War II veteran, maybe Korean veteran, and she didn't know where to go. I mean, he had papers ready for her, but she couldn't understand. She didn't know who she needed to go to for anything she might qualify for, and I sent her to you when you were in the Dallas location. So once again, I'm singing your praises because you do such good things for our veterans, and I'm so grateful that we were able to team up and that you are taking care of the people that I represent. Thank you very much. And I will mention, I know you're coming November 3rd to my Veterans Expo, and that would be at Misericordia University, and you're always there for me too, and I know you get a lot of business at that site. So thank you again, and it's a pleasure to work with you. I'm here with Trula Hollywood, who is the director of the Area Agency on Aging for Wyoming and Luzerne counties. That's Wyoming and Luzerne counties. And I'm so thrilled that you were able to come today on behalf of our Senior Expo. Trula, what kind of questions have people been asking you today?
Well, people have been asking questions about nursing home placements and how to get the types of insurances they need, as well as volunteers issues. And also they've been asking an awful lot about the senior centers and their what is available at the senior centers. So it's been a very joyful day. It's amazing how many people have showed up.
Oh, I am so impressed with the turnout, and thanking your office for being here with me, because I know that many questions I field in my office I refer to you.
Yes.
So this is like a one-stop shop for our seniors to come and take advantage of this expo. Now, you mentioned the senior centers. Can you tell us what they can expect if they join a senior center? Because the ones that I have in my legislative district are booming.
Yes,
so
they are booming. The senior centers have really come along so that there's a lot of nutritional information. There's a great deal of exercise programs, chronic disease management. It's not just going and having a meal and leaving. It's going and actually getting yourself out of the house and having fun with other people and learning at the same time. So it's just absolutely wonderful. And the senior centers are growing in the sense that we're really trying to work toward the younger group that to be able to attend. So that we also, I'm almost 60 myself, so I want to be able to come to those senior centers and feel that there's something there for them to offer me. And so there's a lot of things going on at senior centers now. So,
and that's what I really enjoy about you, Tulip, that you see what's out there, what's needed, and you listen to our seniors, and that only improves the centers themselves, which are great to begin with, but I see you making such a great difference. And of course, being here today, that you came as the director just to hear what our seniors' needs are. So I want to thank you. I really appreciate you being here.
I've enjoyed it. Thank you.
I'm now here with Judith Johnson, and Judith is representing the Family Hearing Center, Ziegler and Aspie Audiology, and you've been members of my expo since I've been doing senior expos, and I want to thank you for coming out and testing our seniors.
Oh, you're welcome.
And in fact, when this is over, Judith, I would ask if you would test my hearing. And you know, I noticed that many people that are my age or younger, they don't want to recognize the fact that they might have a hearing problem, and I highly recommend every year, please come and get your hearing tested. There's no stigma attached to that.
No.
And many times you know, they'll have a hard time hearing you, and when you say, would you like to have your hearing tested, some people just, they're in denial. So can you maybe counteract that opinion?
Sure. Now, hearing loss is something that happens very gradually and slowly over time. So most people don't realize that it's happening, and then suddenly one day they notice that they're having more difficulty to hear in a noisy setting or in a group setting. And a hearing test is very easy to do, no pain involved. We're doing hearing screenings here today. We have patients of all ages. We start at infancy and go up to elderly population. There's no stigma involved with hearing loss, just as you need glasses to help you see. A hearing aid will help you hear better. And we're starting with the baby boomer population now. We see more and more people coming in their 50s or 60s that are showing signs of hearing loss.
This is a great screening because at least it's a start, and that people are not, again, intimidated by the machine or by the chance that they might need eventually a hearing aid, or maybe they would need one now. How is your turnout? Because when I was coming in, there were people that were in line waiting to see you.
Yes, we've had lines pretty much all day long, and a variety of ages coming in. So we're pleased with the turnout.
Great. Well, we're pleased with your services, Judith, and I thank you so much again for volunteering your time on behalf of the seniors that Representative Major and I represent. So thank you so much, and I guess now it's my turn.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm here with attorney Ron Santora, who, fortunately for all of us, is donating his time to come out to the Senior Expo. In fact, you were with us last year, too, and met with such success that we invited him back, and he did consent. So we thank you for that. Now, Attorney Santora does a breakout session on power of attorney for our seniors and how important it is that you get the right person to serve as your power of attorney, because we know how much fraudulent practices are out there, particularly with our seniors. Ron, can you tell us a little bit about what your breakout session is like?
Sure, Karen. As we all know, our society, and certainly Pennsylvania in particular, has become much elderly, and as a result, we are seeing more and more that certain family members or supposed close friends are beginning to take advantage of a lot of our seniors, and our seniors are becoming more and more dependent on third parties for some of their care. So we've all generally heard of the concept of a power of attorney, but unfortunately, if it's not done correctly, or if the senior doesn't fully understand all the ramifications of granting someone your power of attorney, they've been used to take advantage of the senior. Unfortunately, we've seen many cases where the assets of the senior citizen are dissipated, and down the road when those assets are needed, they're no longer available. So it's something that we are trying to stress to our seniors to make an informed choice, an intelligent choice. There are different types of powers of attorney that can be granted. So what we hope to do in this type of get-together is to inform our senior citizens what's all involved, give them some guidelines as to how they should go about picking out their attorney-in-fact, and how they can control their attorney-in-fact. Maybe many will not know how to do that. On the other side of the coin, though, an attorney-in-fact in this day and age is becoming more and more a necessity. As seniors become incapacitated, whether it's permanent or temporary, they need to have someone be able to act on their behalf and to take care of their affairs. So at the same time, we're concerned about someone abusing that power. When used correctly, it can be incredibly helpful to the senior citizen. So hopefully, as a result of sessions like the one we have today, we can educate people and give them an opportunity to fulfill a need that they certainly have.
And I know you're donating your time to our seniors, and I can't tell you how much we do appreciate that. And there's quite an interest. I know people were saying, when is Attorney Santora speaking? So I'm sure you're going to have a packed house. And regarding the breakout session, last year was the first time we did this. Now, we conduct it like a small group, almost like a small classroom, for about 20 minutes. Right. Do you feel that that's been a benefit, instead of being behind a table, to actually have a small group that you can discuss this with and then change the groups?
I'm really comfortable either way. The smaller group tends to allow people to get more active in the discussion. They seem to be more willing to ask questions, more willing to entertain a discussion presentation. But a larger group is fine too. I'll speak in front of anyone, any group, but really we have found that sometimes the smaller sessions by their nature seem to generate more of an exchange of information, which is always helpful.
Well, last year was the first time we tried it, and now, as I said, people are saying, when is this going to be presented? So I'm looking forward to it again this year, and once again, thank you for your time, and thank you for helping our senior members of my district and that of Representative Majors. Thank you, Ron.
Well, thank you for inviting me. It is indeed an honor and pleasure to be here. Unfortunately, most of the times, I see seniors when it's too late, after something has happened. So this gives me an opportunity on behalf of my profession to hopefully, avoid some of those pitfalls and give people an opportunity to do what needs to be done ahead of time. So thank you for inviting me.
Thank you.
One of the concerns I always have is people generally come to see me too late. So hopefully today, maybe you can learn something that might get you thinking, maybe to do something ahead of time. Now, what do I mean by that? Let me give you some examples. If you want to raise your hand, that's great. If you don't want to, that's okay too. But how many here have a will? All right. So for those of you who did not raise your hand, when the time comes, 30, 40, 50 years from now, whatever the good Lord decides, the state is going to decide who gets all your property. Not you, Not your husband, not your wife, not your children, not your family, the state. A bunch of legislators, with all due respect to Ms. Major and Ms. Boback, the legislators sitting in Harrisburg who adopted the intestate law will decide where all your property goes. Now, most of us really don't want that. So, get a will. I met with an 88-year-old man this past week. I've known him since I've been practicing law. He was one of my first clients, one of my most loyal clients. He didn't have a will, despite 20 years of me preaching to him. And I finally asked him this week, why don't you have a will? I'm in good health. Okay. What does that have to do with it? Well, a will's about dying. He said, no, you're wrong. A will is not about dying. Yeah, a will becomes effective upon death, but a will has nothing to do with dying. A will is about planning. He looked at me and said, what do you mean planning? I said, you've worked hard all your life. You've been successful. You've made yourself proud, as my father would say. Take that lifelong of hard work and you decide who you want to benefit, reap the benefits of that. And I always tell my clients, by the way, when they come in for wills, with all due respect, and I've got kids and I was one of many brothers, plan for yourself. When was the last time anybody saw a U-Haul behind a hearse? You're not taking it with you, okay? You're not taking it with you. Spend it. You earned it. Your kids will be fine, all right? So a will is important, though, for a couple of reasons, a lot of reasons, actually. If you do it right, we've all heard about this probate estate. Oh, with the probate estate, it's terrible. Well, if you do it right, you only do it once between a husband and wife. The first thing you really should consider is if the husband and wife are both living, then you should have what we call reciprocal wills. In other words, when the first spouse passes, everything by operation of law should go to the surviving spouse. So then the state never gets involved. There is no probate. There is nothing when the first spouse passes away. Everything by operation of law goes to the survivor. So, first thing you want to do is, if you don't have a will, you want to get a will. And if you have a spouse living, you want to have what we call a reciprocal will. Everything passes to the surviving spouse. That way, you don't need a lawyer. You don't need anything when the first person passes away. Everything goes. Now, that works only if we do certain other things too. If you own real estate, make sure both you and your husband or you and your wife's name, both spouses are on the deed. Please do that. Go home, check your deeds. A lot of times, this happens a lot. Maybe your house was inherited through your family. So the deed went to you, not to you and your spouse. I see that all the time. You never change it. You never add the other spouse. So when the spouse whose name is on that deed passes away, now we've got to go to court to get that property transferred to the surviving spouse because they weren't on that deed. So the first thing you want to do is make sure all your real estate has both names on it. Because in Pennsylvania, when one person dies, one spouse dies, if the surviving spouse's name is on the deed, you need to do nothing else. You don't need a new deed, you don't need nothing. By operation of law, it goes to the surviving spouse. First thing you want to do. Second thing is bank accounts. Both names on the bank accounts, always. Have joint husband and wife names on the bank account. I'm going to tell you a true story. My parents were married 68 years. When my mother passed first, after she passed away, they had a joint checking account for probably 60 of those 68 years. My dad signed his first check after my mom passed away, signed his name. The bank refused to accept it because for 60 years my mother signed my father's name to all of the checks. And they said, Angelo, this isn't your signature. So, but although that's funny, and one phone call to the bank took care of that, but My dad didn't have to do anything. He didn't have to go set up new accounts, nothing like that, because it was a joint account. So you want both names on your deed, both names on your bank accounts. Any other things you have, any other investments, stocks, bonds, anything else you might have, put both names on. Your insurance policies. This is one people forget all the time. If your intention is to have your spouse have the benefit of your insurance policy, or your kids, whoever your choices are, make sure your policy says that. A lot of them says your estate. Because when you sit with your insurance man maybe 30 years ago, you didn't know what to put. You didn't know. Maybe you weren't even married at the time. So he just wrote automatically your estate. So when you die, your policy proceeds go to your estate. 99% of people forget to change that. It might be 30 years down the road. Now you're married, you have children, grandchildren, maybe great-grandchildren. You've never changed your policy. So guess what? The will, we did everything else right. Now you've got proceeds. We have to go open up an estate because that's the beneficiary of your policy. So check your policies. Make sure you do that.
I want to thank you, Gail, for representing Tyler Memorial Hospital, and thank you for the screenings that you're doing today for our seniors. And of course, I always take advantage. I will have my hearing tested next, and I'm so appreciative that you're checking my blood pressure. Many times when my constituents see this, they'll come over and they'll say, well, I'll get it done too, and that's certainly what we promote. Now, can you tell us what kind of questions were you fielding today with some of the seniors coming through the expo?
Well, a lot of the questions that they were having was in regards to the West Nile virus, and we're passing out pamphlets regarding disasters and some pamphlets on West Nile virus because it's a hot topic right now, and we want to make sure that our patients and our community members are safe here in the area. There's not been a lot of outbreak here in Pennsylvania, but we want to prevent that. And I'm also fielding questions in regards to, I'm also the director of volunteers at the hospital, and we need senior citizens, and we want to keep them active, and we enjoy having them very much, so we would like to keep that active. And anybody is welcome to volunteer at our hospital or come visit our hospital. We have some new services at the hospital, a new emergency room, new radiology department, digital, so come by and visit.
Now, do they need any qualifications to come and volunteer? I think that's a great idea.
They have to be a senior citizen.
And
they don't even have to be a senior citizen. All they have to do is want to volunteer time.
And what age is a senior citizen as far as the hospital is concerned?
Probably 55. So anybody that wants to volunteer, just come in and see me in my office.
Why, thank you. And I do appreciate you bringing information for West Nile virus. That was a big, big topic on this morning's news.
It is. And it will be for just a short period of time, but we don't want it to get as bad as Texas in our area.
Well, prevention is a pound of cure.
Yes, it is.
So I thank you so much, and thank you for being here for our expo. And as I could see, so many of the tables are virtually empty. I'm thrilled that our seniors came to take advantage of this expo.
I'm so glad that they all came out today.
And how is the blood pressure?
Your blood pressure is great considering you're running around here.
Why, thank you. And thank you again, and your staff for being here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm State Representative Sandy Major. If you have any questions or concerns about what you've seen here today, the information will be following on the screen. So please give my office a call to let us know about your questions and concerns.
And I'm State Representative Karen Boback, and I want to commend everybody who participated in today's event. Our vendors were phenomenal, and the people who came, it was an outstanding turnout. It broke any record that I had in my mind. So thank you. We intend to do this again, and we're pleased that we could offer this to our constituents. My information will also be rolling on the screen should you have any specific questions. Thank you.